I would like to give a very warm welcome to Nikita. Nikita is one of our class of 2020 alumni. Yes. He's now in his second year with SGU Northampton. Is that right?
I'm glad to be here, and I really appreciate to be in the SGU University. I watched the video again, and I would say that I would apply again. You bought me.
I know, I love watching the presentations from SGU. Just, it looks like an amazing experience. I'm very envious.
The first thing I would like to say about SGU is that everything is true. So basically, it may look too good to be true, but it is actually true. Everything they say, everything they promise, actually confirms itself.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, and that would be our experience. We've been sending students there for a couple of years now, and all the feedback back is very, very positive, from the support you get with your applications right through to the academic support when you're there. Okay, so we'll start with just an overall question about your experience with DIFC. Can you tell us a little bit about what that was like and how you found studying with DIFC?
It was great. It was wonderful because it gave me a solid foundation, basically. So it prepared me to succeed in my foundation year and also in my medical studies. So in my medical school, it gave me tools and taught me how to use them, such as my academics and my transferable skills, so I could apply them and basically get into the university I want to get into. So yeah, it gave me a mindset required to be a medical student, because it's not easy. It's not easy, but if you know what you want, DIFC will guide you and support you at all the possible ways.
Yeah, and just on that, talking about the mindset, during the foundation, did you find that you learnt kind of the skills of how to structure your study skills and your time management and everything that goes with that?
So basically, my studies in my home country was very different from experience in the UK and Ireland. However, this health sciences year in the DIFC helped me actually to transfer my knowledge and skills, and basically they taught me how to solve problems in the way UK and US require students to solve problems. They taught me how to think, basically. So yeah, that's probably the most important.
Absolutely. And how did you find the foundation year prepared you specifically for your medical studies?
So basically, there were plenty of support. The first year I've done in SGU was mostly repetition of what I was preparing for in DIFC. So especially first semester. So you just go into medical school and you see, oh, I've done it before. So it gives you some comfort and time to adapt to this, like the schedule, because not only academics, but also the support DIFC provide helps you to basically feel like you're in the right place when you come to the medical school.
Yeah, it gives you the confidence.
Yes, exactly. They make you truly international and medical students that medical school is searching for, such as SGU.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those who haven't been to Ireland, now I know you only had a very short time there with the pandemic, but what was your experience of living in Ireland?
Actually, it wasn't. I was from the September, so I could enjoy weather pretty much. It was pretty windy, however. So it's much better in the UK. And now I'm in Newcastle, and yeah, it gets better, believe me. So I really appreciated the accommodation DIFC provided me. It's in the city center of Dublin. It's beautiful. Yes, it's a bit expensive, but it's only 10 minutes walk from the Griffith College, which is DIFC. Also, I was a minor at the moment of the foundation, and they provided, the DIFC provided all the support. They provided me a guardian, they helped me with my visa application. Basically, they helped me in any way just to become the person I am now. I can't thank enough.
And how did you find the Irish people?
Well, very welcoming. Yeah, very welcoming. I wasn't confident before arriving into to the Ireland because there are many stereotypes and stuff. But I would say the Irish people are very kind, and especially in the DIFC and around. Dublin is a very international city now, and you would find so many opportunities, so many people that would help you and guide you. It was great. Yeah, you just got to be active. That's it.
Yeah, and it is where your accommodation is. I'm assuming that was Uni Nest Newmill, and it's a very safe neighbourhood, and it is only a hop, skip, and a jump to campus, and where the majority of our students would live. So I assume you probably walked to class with your classmates and that, because you're all living in such a close community. Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Okay. So we'll move on to SGU. And can you tell us why you chose St. George's University for your medicine study?
So there are basically three reasons why I chose SGU. First of all, I think it wasn't mentioned that much, but it was important for me that SGU provides you the earliest possible clinical exposure, because although you will have real clinical rotations at the final 2 years, you can also do medical practice on your second year. So basically, I'm a second year medical student. I can SGU in Newcastle and even in Grenada, they will provide me a shadowing, they will guide me through anything, they will provide me opportunities that any other university couldn't provide it, at least at the year I was applying. Yeah. That's first. Secondly, I could experience several healthcare facilities in different countries. That was very important to me. Not RCSI, not UCLan could provide me these opportunities. Because I could actually live in the UK, first of all, then I could live in Grenada, and then I could actually go into the US. It was unbelievable, to be honest. And third, and most importantly, I guess, it's the support that SGU provide. So I really, I was very keen, and I used to support the DIFC provided me and helped me in every way. So that's why I decided to choose SGU, because everything they say, it is true. So they will support you in the application process. They will support you in when you arrive. They will support you in all the time you are in the UK and the US, anywhere in the world. So probably support is most important.
Absolutely. And probably in this last year, the support has probably been even more important because, you know, this has been your first year just finished in the middle of a pandemic. So what was that experience like doing your first year of medicine largely, you know, remotely?
Well, it wasn't what I expected, basically, if to be honest, but I think SGU made like everything to make up for it. They provided DLA sessions. Basically, for every lecture you watched by yourself, they provided a person that would, the sessions that would be able to answer any questions to help you. So any problems, the tiniest problem you have with the material, you just make an email and they can even arrange you an individual meeting. It's like you're, I don't know, surrounded by the many teachers and each of them are ready to help you and explain what you might not understand. Yeah. Another, I'm sorry, point that I would like to mention in terms of support, it's international students. So and clinical rotations. Other universities, even the DIFC are partners with, are not able to give that confidently give the place in the residency like SGU can.
Yeah.
So yes, you will have practice with UConn. Yes, you might have practice with RCSI, but RCSI puts international students in the second place. Irish students go first, unfortunately. So, but it's opposite in the SGU. Everyone gets place if you work hard, and that's probably the things that you cannot buy. So it's probably the best investment I made.
Yeah, and having the security that, you know, you will get a residency at the end of it. You know, you won't have to go looking in another country or wherever to try and find suitable residency places. So no, absolutely, that's very important, and something to bear in mind for medicine students, that, you know, your 5-year or 6-year medicine degree, wherever you are, that's not the end of it. You know, there is more training to do afterwards, and having security to secure training places is very important.
Yes, that's true, because in other universities, that's 5 years, 6 years, you just study, for example. In SGU, at the end of the 5th year, you already had 2 years of clinical rotations. It's like you already did residency, but and you're just have all the papers that any hospital would love to take you.
Yeah, absolutely. And just a reminder to people, if you want to ask Nikita a question, pop it into the Q&A. And I'll just ask one more, and then we have a few student questions, both for Lily and Nikita. What would be your one piece of advice for students considering the medicine pathway, Nikita?
I would say to be confident in where you want to be, and how you achieve it, working hard.
Yeah.
That's it.
And my advice would be to ask for help when you're at DIFC, and don't be afraid to ask for help, because you know, a lot of the medicine students have come from being the top of their class in their school, and you know, they have that confidence, but really your teachers at DIFC are there to help you get you where you want to be, and they will go above and beyond. So the students who do the best in the program are the students who ask for help and keep asking for help, and you know, get you through that way. Okay, so just a couple of questions. What do students do for fun around there in their spare time? I suppose I might put that to Lily, because
Sure. I mean, okay, so there's lots of things that you know, students can do. We obviously have lots of sports facilities for students who like to distress and you know, exercise. We have a lot of students actually who learn to swim and go scuba diving, because that's the perfect location for that. We also have lots of student organizations, which are actually really important, because we are a large medical school, so we have you know, student organizations that specialize in particular areas of medicine. So for example, you have the emergency medicine club, the women in medicine club, the pediatrics club, and so on. So it's a really great way to connect with students who might be a term or 2 terms ahead of you and who are interested in the similar areas. So I really recommend that students do get involved with those student organizations, because joining St. George's means that you are joining essentially a community of future doctors. So you're all going to graduate together and be doctors and doing some great things in the world. But essentially it means that your professional networking actually starts in medical school rather than after you finish medical school. So really do make the most of it by getting involved with all the student organizations that we have. In Northumbria, there are also lots of sports facilities. When you're allowed to go, obviously, that will be, you know, I know that there is a huge gym on campus with a swimming pool. I visited there actually back in June. And it's a really lovely city campus, very close to everything, lots of restaurants, cafe, and things to do. But Nikita, maybe you'd have some personal anecdotes to share on what you do in your spare time.
What do you mean spare time?
In
Like,
when you're not studying, because obviously you're very
I
busy
haven't heard
studying.
of it. Spare time. Um, being like, it's a great opportunity to travel in the UK, especially now when pandemic is. On the weekends, if you work properly on the weekdays, you can actually travel with your classmates. You all live in one accommodation, in one block, so you make like your study bubbles, and you can do whatever you want. There are plenty of opportunities, facilities, there are gyms, there are some clubs and stuff. You have some free time, and it's encouraged to balance that the time you relax and the time you study.
Yeah. Absolutely. And we can't stress that enough, because there is this this myth that students think that all they have to do in medical school is actually just study, and they have to study all the time. But actually, we really recommend that students find some balance, because the demands of medical school are huge demands. You know, it's a lot of volume of information to absorb every day, a lot of concentration that's involved, a lot of learning constantly. So we really do recommend that students actually have an activity at least, or a group of friends to support each other, and to actually learn to switch off, because if you're able to maintain a balance, you can actually learn a lot better.
Yeah, so basically the student will study all the time if they don't know how to time manage like themselves, because students should use DIFC as an opportunity to learn these skills because without them, also actually SGU provides such support. You have learning strategies that will guide you and show you how you should schedule your time, so you could have time for yourself, so you could be productive. So it was a question about managing your academic stress. This is partly how SGU helps to manage it. So they not only learning strategies helps you, they tell you learning strategies, it's not just scheduling, it's your mindset, it's how you need to feel, if you need to ask anything, to ask for help. So because you can always ask for help if you don't understand anything, if you have problems with visa, for example. Moreover, you can actually, second, so about stress, yeah, I forgot.
So Nikita, you touched on something really important, which is the Department of Educational Services. So at SGU, we have a team of learning strategists who are there to help students essentially find out the best way for them to learn. So everybody learns very differently, and there are lots of techniques to help improve, for example, your memory, your exam technique. A lot of the assessments are MCQs, which stands for multiple choice questionnaires. So there is this way to read the questions and make sure that you pick the right answer. So we have a team of learning strategists to support you with that transition from DIFC to medical school as well. And I think most students at some point end up going to the DES to make sure that they are really maximizing their chances of doing well on the program. And I think it's really great to have that support available.
Yes, you made me remember that the amount of MCQs SGU expose you, the number of questions, and how they put you into exam conditions every 3 weeks or so after your first semester. Second semester starts your real medical life. So you'll be exposed to the exams every 4th week, and you will just get used to it. You will be doing questions like this if you study enough, and that's it. You just practice. They give you stack of practice questions per each lecture or per each block, and if you just do them, I know 70% ready for the exams on the 4th week. And if you successful during the block of the small exams every 4th week, it will not be a problem for you to do the final exam. So they just basically spread the volume across the year, so you would be fine. You shouldn't worry.
Okay, just moving on to, we've got a couple more questions and then we'll move on. How do students from SGU perform on the national board in the US and the UK, Lily?
Okay, so that question is not quite clear, but I would say because basically you have okay, so in the US you have the USMLE, the United States Medical Licensing Exam, and then you have all the different boards, obviously, once the students go on to do their residencies. And then in the UK, you've got the Medical Council as well, the General Medical Council, or GMC. And so it's not quite comparable. What you should consider as a student in terms of that information, you should look at the residency placement rate that we offer. So 92% of our international students have been able to secure a residency following the MD degree at St. George's, and that is the biggest success metric that you should consider, because that is when they get to pursue their postgraduate training and specialize in the specialty of their choice. We also do have approximately, I believe, 150 students who have previously registered in the UK. So obviously not everybody chooses to practice in the US. Some students choose to practice in the UK. So they would go through the provisional registration with the GMC in the UK and then apply for the UK Foundation Pathway Training, which is essentially an equivalent residency to what would they do in the US. It's just managed by the NHS. So different healthcare systems, one is private and one is public, but you know, we've got success across the board. It just depends on where you would like to go as a student, making sure that you have touch points with the Office of Career Guidance and that you get that specialist advice in terms of how to plan that journey into your residency or postgraduate training. But when you join DIFC, you will have the opportunity to attend other talks that we will deliver at DIFC to give you more information on clinical rotations, residencies, how they work, what to consider. So this will not be the last event where you get to hear about SGU. And so the great thing about that is that you can get, you know, to ask more questions as you go through your program at DIFC. And hopefully once the restrictions are lifted, I will be able to come and visit you all in person, which will be much nicer than just being separated by a screen. So again, you'll have plenty of opportunities.
Okay. Oh, you've gone on to mute, Lily. I think it just flipped off. It's okay.
What happened?
Just one more question before we move on, and that is, are there student job opportunities on campus?
Okay, so there are job opportunities, although there are not many. We don't generally recommend students to look for part-time jobs because we don't want the focus to be taken away from their studies, especially in the first year of joining SGU. I think it's really a transition phase from DIFC to SGU. However, once you start to join, you know, the second year or the third year, you might want to apply to become a facilitator. So we have, outside of your classes, you basically would have 75% of your classes in groups of 8, but outside of that official class, you would actually have study groups or peer learning groups, which are also groups of 8 students, and it is typically facilitated by a student who's 1 or 2 terms ahead of you. So we really have that collaborative culture where we try to get students to work together to understand the content, go over the content again, ask each other questions, and really sort of foster that culture of, you know, being there for each other and learning together. So if you are interested in becoming a facilitator, you know, that opportunity will be available to, you know, further down the line if that's something you wish to do. There may be other opportunities for you to get involved in research. So there are different research projects as well going on around campus. So again, once you arrive, make sure that you inquire and ask about those things, and I'm sure that the opportunity will present itself.
Great. Okay, well, I'm just conscious of the time, so we might end the Q&A session there. So thank you very much, Nikita. I really appreciate you joining us today, and it was really insightful to hear a student's perspective. Thank you very much.
Thanks for inviting me. I'm glad to share my experience.
Not a problem.